Welcome to the Association 100 podcast. The A100 podcast is an extension of our Association 100 bi-monthly newsletter that focuses on best practices, top trends, helpful ideas, and smart strategies and tactics that work in the world of associations. The podcast will feature meaningful conversations with association professionals across the country, taking a deeper dive into trending topics, offering insights that both inform and inspire.
Welcome back for our latest episode of the Association 100 podcast. I'm Megan Henning, and I'm joined by my co-host, Colleen Gallagher. Today, we're talking about a whole lot of things. We'll hit on what it's like to take on a brand new role at your organization, how associations appeal to different generations, COVID and its impact on events, DEI, and more. We're excited to welcome our guest today, Chantel Goodman-Luckett. Chantel is the Chief Experience Officer for the National Association of College Admissions Counseling, and she's also a longtime friend to both Colleen and I. Chantel, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Hey, Chantel.
It's great to see you and have you here. So tell us a bit about your association and its mission.
Yeah, so it's the National Association for College Admission Counseling, NACAC, otherwise known as NACAC. And our mission is to empower college admission and college counseling professionals through advocacy, professional development, and also community.
That's great. And how long have you been there?
So just over a year. My 1-year anniversary was in February.
I feel like that went by
I
fast.
can't believe it's been a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it has flown.
Chantel, when you started, you were the first person to have the title of Chief Experience Officer, which is such a cool title. Tell us about your position.
Yes, so as the CXO with NACAC, I oversee membership experience as well as events and meetings and marketing. So when the NACAC CEO or our NACAC CEO, Angel Perez, created this position, for him, it was about just, at every touch point with NACAC, what will the experience be like for our members? We want to make sure that it's an enriching experience. It is one that really shines a light on the true value of a membership with NACAC. So it's everything from, and the way that I see it, it's everything from just the way that we answer the phone at NACAC when people call, the way that we respond over email. It's kind of like, you think of Chick-fil-A, for anybody who eats at Chick-fil-A, they're known for, saying my pleasure, for example. One, their service is stellar, whether you eat there or not. Their service is stellar, but also just the way that they treat their customers. People know that they're going to be efficient. They know that the food is going to be great, but they also know that they are going to feel appreciated for doing business with that organization. So that's where I'd love for us to get to at NACAC, and that's the way that it should be.
That's really cool. So speaking of the member experience, Colleen and I were talking. When I started out in my career, I joined PRSA, which is the Public Relations Association. And it was something that my boss told me to do when I first started out, and I did it. And I really enjoyed it because I met different people through the association. I took some workshops and I learned some stuff. But today, I heard this phrase that I hadn't heard before, which was that associations are becoming generational, meaning that newer generations aren't so programmed to just go out and join. So how are you looking to attract and meet the needs of the next generation of college admissions counselors and the next sort of generation of your membership?
Yeah, I think, just meeting folks where they are, right? So for example, last year during the pandemic, we hosted a series of virtual happy hours with some of our younger, or I should say newer folks to the profession. And what was great was that we helped facilitate this, but the actual hosts were seasoned college admissions, college counselors, which was great. And it was sort of our way of extending the olive branch to the next gen We asked for their input in terms of just, what are some topics that you want to talk about. It was very informal, very successful. I think each one was about, maybe 25 or so.
Oh, that's great.
And this year we're looking to start doing that in person. So we
Oh,
have,
cool.
we have a few that we're lining up now to launch in the summer. In addition, we recognized that there was a need, professional development for the next gen. And so we developed the Emerging Leaders program, and that launched last year, I believe. And, we've had 2 cohorts already. We're starting a 3rd cohort, very successful. They sell out each time. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention too was, and this was in motion before I joined NACAC, we changed our membership model. A lot of times when folks join an organization, especially if they're more junior, they don't have the opportunity yet to, for professional development opportunities, to attend events and things like that. That's usually something that you see sort of managers and directors, they have the opportunity to do that. What we did with our membership model is that now, if you are at any level, if you are part of the admissions team or the counseling team within your organization and you are at any level, you are automatically a member. So we introduced the institutional level memberships to ensure that the next gen, those more junior, had the opportunity to take advantage of the benefits and the value of a NACAC membership. So those are just a few of the things. And also we're talking to our members to find out what they need and what they want, because we realize that the folks that are kind of looking at retirement in the next 5 or 10 years, what they need and want is very different from somebody that is new to the profession.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to hear what different associations are doing to try and target millennials and Gen Z, especially younger millennials. I think like my age group is more likely to have joined associations on the older side of millennials, but I think it's definitely just not, like Megan said, it's not like a natural choice, but I think there's so much value there. I'll be really curious. I like what you guys are doing with the institutional memberships, because I think the communications might have to be to the organizations and say, hey, we can be that cost-effective professional development for your younger staff. And especially right now when you need to do so much more to keep employees and to get employees with the workforce the way it is, it could be a big benefit.
Yeah, exactly. And more and more people are like, especially this next generation, it's like, what's in it for me?
Right.
Right.
I'm going to work hard. I'm committed, but what's in it for me?
Yeah. They're not afraid to ask. Yeah. To ask for
exactly.
What they want and deserve. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to shift gears a little and kind of step back. Megan had mentioned at the beginning that we are all friends here and have known each other for a long time. And so we all work together at the Global Business Travel Association, and you were there for 10 years, which is a long time to work at, one organization, especially in today's world. Tell me, what was it like to take on a new role after so much time at one association?
As you know, I learned a ton from working at GBTA with you guys, but it was very, number one, to leave after so many years. It was liberating for me to do that. It's interesting because, when you go through sort of you're looking for a new job, and the worst part of that is like a cover letter and all of that. It's like, oh my
Yes.
God, it's so daunting.
Yes.
Especially when you haven't done it in so long.
Right. And when I saw this position, there was no hesitation in terms of like, I was excited about it. I had done a lot of this type of work, some of it indirectly, but I had just gone through this process with my daughter, who's a sophomore in college right now. And, I had a perspective that I wanted to share and thought there was a lot I could add. It's been, our members, I've spoken to so many of them and they have so much to share, and I've learned a ton. I have probably spoken to more members in the past year, NACAC members in the past year, I hate to say this, but that I did at GBTA in almost 10 years, to be honest. I mean, that's what I
Wow.
do. I talk to them all.
That's amazing though, because then you
Yeah.
really can know what you need to deliver for them.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And they're so passionate about, especially when I talk to the public school counselor members. I was one of the staff liaisons for a public school counselor ad hoc committee that we had. And our first meeting, one of the questions was like, talk to me about your challenges. And of course, there's a lot of challenges. And then I said, why do you do this? Like, why? This just seems so hard. Why do you do this? And
Yeah.
honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I was almost in tears when
Wow.
some of the answers, because it all is about the students and the families and the impact that they make on the lives of others to attain a post-secondary education. And they work with so many first-gen students. They're the first in their family to go to college or to have the opportunity even to go to college. So listening to those stories, I mean, for me, it just, I don't know, it was a stamp of, it was like, I am in the right place. Like, I want to do whatever I can to support our members.
That's so validating. Like, that has to feel really good.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
And to
That's
be
great.
able, I think, to be able to speak to the members and get this like one-on-one time and the real experience that probably many associations don't have, people chatting, having real conversations with the members, and you can tell that it is meaningful. I'm sure it's like, strongly impacted your role.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, our members, like I said, I mean, passionate is probably, it's not even the right word. It's not powerful enough. I mean, if you call them up, if I call up any member and I just want their thoughts, their opinions, for them to pitch in and help, I mean, they will do it. And this is
Yeah.
after they get home from working and working with students and there's public school counselors, private school counselors, obviously there's the college admissions folks. We work with community-based organizations, independent education consultants as well. All of those groups make up our membership. I would say the ones that tug at my heartstrings are the public school counselors for sure. And knowing too that some of them are paying for membership out of their pocket. Some of them are paying to go to conference and attend different events that we have, again, out of their pockets, because their schools aren't able to fund their participation. So.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing to remember in any associations, is that the members are doing this on their own time. I mean, this is
Yes.
above and beyond their jobs.
Yes.
They're often volunteering their time, trying to better the industry, whatever it is, the profession. And that, I mean, that when you talk about, we go back to that value and delivering value. You talked earlier about wanting it to be through the whole member experience. And I think that's amazing and a really good way to deliver value to your members. So you're providing the value, that there's no doubt there. How do you get the message out about that? What ways are you letting your membership know that you're doing this for them?
Yeah. It's interesting because when I first joined, I spoke to a handful of members and said, what do you need from me? How can I help you? And one of the things they said was just transparency. Tell us what's going on. And I just thought like, well, that seems easy enough. But the way in which we're doing that, I mean, Angel Perez, our CEO, he's an outward facing CEO. He is not sitting in his office with the door closed every day.
Yeah.
He's not doing that. He is on the road. He is attending we have 23 affiliate organizations. He's attending their conferences. He's attending their meetings. We have special interest groups. We have 33 special interest groups. So myself and other members of the membership experience team, we are joining some of their meetings. So obviously it's emails and things like that, social media. But I think probably the most impactful is either sitting on a call with them, on a Zoom with them. I don't know, it's letting your members know that you see them,
That's
as
great.
It's
individuals.
important. Yeah.
Yes.
As individuals, that you see them, that you hear them. Sometimes I don't have the answers. I will get an email from a member asking me a question, and I don't have the answer. And my first thought is, I'll get back to them once I have that answer. And what I've learned is I get back to them immediately to
Yeah.
acknowledge that I got your message. I appreciate your message. Appreciate you reaching out to me. And they're just, I don't know, they're just very grateful and very, very kind, when they know, again, that you see them and that you hear them.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like coming out of the last couple years of COVID too, that those interactions are even more important than ever. And people, even if it's not in person, still people spend a lot of time away. So whatever kind of interaction you have, that matters, and to feel like someone cares and someone knows you're there, I think that matters a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So talking about COVID, it obviously changed the world and how associations operate and everything. You've begun to kind of come back to in-person events. You've had your college fairs. How is it coming back to in person, and how are people feeling about that?
Folks are over the moon about
Yeah.
each other again. So when we had our annual conference last year in September, and it was in Seattle, it was hybrid then. We had just over 3,500 in-person attendees and over 1,000 virtual. We knew then that there was no way we were going to cut out the virtual piece. It was going to probably remain hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because, one, the demand is there, but two, it's around access,
Yeah.
it's around access. And so we know, I've shared with you what our public school counselors are, experiencing. They can't always attend our events, and even some of the, depending upon the budgets of the colleges and universities, some of them can't attend in person either. So we're definitely going to continue with a hybrid model for conference. And college fairs, we just wrapped up our spring college fair season. We did 6 total college fairs. Actually, it was more than 6. We did 13 total college fairs in the spring.
Wow.
6 of them were in person and 7 were virtual.
Okay.
So
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And we plan to have, well, I don't want to say 15 or more, probably in-person college fairs in the fall, and
That's great.
probably fewer virtual. We want to make sure
Okay.
we still offer them, but probably not as many.
Roll it back a little.
We'll roll it back because I think people are, there's fatigue,
Yeah.
there's
Yes.
I think there will always be a need and a demand. And also too, I'm talking about the students, in terms of virtual. I mean, some of them, they're not in a city or a town where they can get to a college fair.
Right.
It's true.
So that's where the virtual really helps.
Yeah. So definitely, like you said, access. It adds
All about access.
adds that access level.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Was there anything that came out of COVID that you learned about your members, or anything that surprised you about them?
That they are resilient.
Yeah.
But they are resilient, and they are determined to ensure that their students achieve a post-secondary education if that's what they want to do. I think that was the big thing. And resilience happens to be our theme for conference this year.
Oh, I love
Oh, that's
that.
great. Yeah.
And that was driven totally by our members.
I actually have a tattoo of the word resilience.
Do you?
I do,
Really?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
How
Yep.
cool.
And I have it in my mom's handwriting. She has really pretty cursive handwriting. So I had her do it, and then they screened that and then drew it on me.
That's so
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
I love that. So one of the things that I had read that you had said is that the future of marketing and business will be more diverse, inclusive, and connected to real customer needs. And I know you have spoken about some of that, but how do you see that happening? And how do you feel like in your role, you're going to sort of take that on?
I think that we are, when I talk about having conversations with members, to me, I lump that in with marketing and membership and business. And that's because I think
Right.
and I read this in an article, I can't remember, it was customer experience or CXO journal, but it was about like how like technology is not going anywhere, and it is going to continue to change things rapidly. So there's always going to be, artificial intelligence and bots and all of that kind of stuff. But I think that people they appreciate that sort of that human touch.
Definitely.
And I think that folks want marketing and business interaction to become more human again.
Yeah.
So and I think that's going to come from listening and hearing. So creating space and time and opportunity to listen and hear what the members need and what they want, what they value, and then delivering on that.
Right.
Because so if you think about it, you're no longer, you're not waiting to be marketed to, like who is, right? I
Right.
get so many marketing emails and
Oh my gosh.
I delete most of them. But I'm researching on my own because I have a phone and I can just research what I need. I don't need to be marketed to.
Well, and I think those lines between membership and marketing, they're no longer there. I mean, you're a member of an organization, and while you're being updated on different things that your organization is doing, I do think it again comes back to what you said, which is the experience. I mean, are you experiencing what your association is kind of hoping that you get out of this? And those lines, I think, are, I mean, they're definitely blurred. I don't know. I mean, if maybe they're not even there anymore, but I do think that. One of the other things I wanted to ask you about was I saw that NACAC is hiring a director of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So talk to us about how your association is ensuring the DEI values that are built into your association, as well as its programs and the need within the profession itself.
Yeah, so DEI is a core principle of NACAC and also the college admission counseling profession.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that NACAC and our members, like, we're not going to stop until students who wish to attain a post-secondary education can.
That's great.
But in order for that to happen, it needs to be accessible. It needs to be inclusive. It needs to be equitable, and it also needs to be affordable. So that's where our focus is, internally, externally. So we're excited because we're hiring a new DEI director very soon, and that's what they will be focused on.
That's great.
That's awesome. This has been so many great insights on so many different topics for our listeners, but we like to end our podcast with our favorite part, and that's some just for fun questions to get to know you a little better. So let's start with an easy one. Tell us where you grew up.
So I grew up in a small town, Powhatan County in Virginia. So it's about 20 miles southwest of Virginia. And my parents grew up on a farm. So
nice.
Yeah.
I always forget that you grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
And it's like a real farm, like with farm animals and a barn, like an actual farm. I mean, you don't meet many people in DC who grew up on a farm.
Yes. So my parents actually have cows. I spoke to my dad this morning. I think he's selling his cows because the land is going to be used for something else. But
wow.
But they still have cows. And it's funny because my husband and I, we're going to take a week vacation in May, and we're like, should we go to the lake, and should we go to, like, I'd love to go to Cabo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to go someplace that is serene, that is just, I can just be, and I know that I can do that at home. So we're actually going to spend a week at my parents' in May.
Oh, nice.
For vacation. Great. And I'm so excited because I look forward to just doing nothing or doing whatever,
Yeah,
you know.
good recharge.
Yes, that's what I need.
That's great. All right, so if you won the lottery tomorrow, would you still work?
I would. I would. I don't now what I would.
You are so crazy.
No,
That is
I'm
that
not
is
saying,
wild.
I'm not saying that I would do the same job that I have now. But I would, yeah, I would totally work. I don't
We
see
would
myself not working. It just, you didn't say, like, I don't know what I would do, but I would not, like, I would love to start a foundation.
So
Yes.
that's not working. Would you still work your day job? I guess is what I should have asked.
Oh, this job that I have
Yes.
any job that you have to get up in the morning and
Is-
go to work at.
is Angel listening to this? If I hit the lottery, a day, I don't know, I probably not. I don't know though. Like I definitely, like I envision I would start a foundation and I would help lower income kids something. And I don't know what that is, but it would be something. And I would get a ranch. And I know that's not what you asked me, but I just want to share. I'm going to get a ranch if I win the lottery. And I'm going to
I
have,
love it.
I'm going to have horses and cows and all of that kind of stuff.
I'm going to cheer for
Amazing.
you to win the lottery.
Yes.
I like that.
That's great. All right, favorite movie or TV show?
So let's see, probably like in terms of TV show, like as of late, it's been like Ted Lasso.
Yes.
So we both
Yes.
said.
Like
We
who
said
doesn't
that
love
too.
Ted
So
Lasso? That is the best show. Like season finale, I was so sad because I just wanted it to
I
continue.
know. It just
Yes.
like hits all the feelings. It's so
Yes.
good.
Yeah. And the other amazing show, and I'm one that I don't really like a lot of violence, but I loved Game of Thrones. Like it was
You know,
so
I've never seen that.
creative. It was so creative and just brilliant. Just brilliant. And there was so much violence, but because the storyline was so good and there was so much depth to the characters, you could kind of get past the like people's heads getting cut off.
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
I'll take your word for that.
Because the story was good. It was a good story.
Too funny.
And then I have to just say Law and Order, just because it is that one show that I will watch anywhere, like in a hotel room. If it's
So
on,
true.
like, yeah, it's Law and Order. Any of
It's
it.
comforting
It's comforting.
in an odd way since it's
Yeah.
about murder.
Yes. Yes.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
All right. Dogs or cats?
Dogs for sure. I'm not a cat person.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
All right. What's something you miss from the pre-pandemic days?
Besides having lunch with Colleen and I.
I know, right? I think what's tough is that when you say pre-pandemic days, because so much has happened, like politically.
It simultaneously feels like these last 2 years like haven't happened and we're still in 2020, and also like it's been years and years and years. I don't know. Like it's a
Yes.
weird feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, and it's, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I miss kindness.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I miss that. And I'm not saying that people were 100% kind before the pandemic, but again, there's so many pieces to where we are today,
Yeah.
that make up all of our experiences. And I think the one thing I long for is just the kindness and I don't know, I think about mental health.
Mhm.
Yes.
And it is just so hard for so many people right now. And I think, and kids, you
Yeah.
know, it's interesting because one of our members or, you know, somebody on the committee, we were talking about like their challenges on public school counseling. And she said, you know, Chantel, like, yes, we want to get to the counseling piece, but we're helping kids with mental health stuff. Like, you know,
Right.
I'm just like, oh my God. And that
Yeah.
just was compounded by the pandemic. So, but I don't know, just people being nice to each other.
That was a lot more profound answer than I expected, but a
I'm
very good
sorry.
answer.
I'm sorry.
No, I love
It's
it.
just-
I love it. It's very
It's-
thoughtful.
That's what popped into my head was that's what I miss.
That's great. All right. Well, Chantel, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been so fun, and I hope our listeners enjoy it as much as we did.
Oh my God, this was fantastic. I enjoyed seeing you guys and hearing your voices, and we have to get together for lunch and
Yes.
all that good stuff and a drink.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Association 100 podcast, brought to you by the A100 Publishing Team, powered by Onward and Upward Marketing and Communications. You can subscribe to the Association 100 podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all of your favorite podcast listening apps so you'll never miss out. Or listen via our website at theassociation100.com. Follow us on Twitter at Association100. That's Association100 for all the latest insights and trends impacting the world of associations. Thanks for tuning in.